Hey guys. So I've got a Vipassana session that I think I'm probably gonna do in like 10 minutes or so. I was thinking about that. But anyway, I was just considering basically I was kind of sitting back and thinking like, okay, like, am I on the right track? More or less. I don't know if essentially it's kind of like, okay, like I feel like I've sort of been keeping my head above water and but also helping sort of like even vaporize the water or let the water go, and so there's less water to maybe keep my head above, but at the same time like sort of staying in a place of kind of equilibrium. And And I was thinking about it, and I was, like, not to pat myself on the shoulder or something, or on the back of the shoulder. What does that mean? Anyway, not to give myself too much, like sort of smiling. Good word here, but at the same time, well, just stay smiling. Actually, like uh, basically, I think the effect of you continuing to be energized and energetic and engaged and passionate and just actually being like upbeat and like not in a fake way, not just stay smiling in a fake way, but I mean like actually find your smile in like any given situation, if you can, and you might not always. Believe me, I've been a dour guy many a day, but even if you do have like dour moments, which actually you likely will if you're being honest enough to find your smile in other times. Even if you do have those dour moments, if you can go back to like, say, like it was at work, or I use work as an example here because that's been sort of what I've been feeling is like uh, kind of my main arena recently for like working on this stuff, and sort of my main actually more objective arena, because I've been realizing that the arena that I've been in has not been very objective. It's basically been like the better you do, the worse responses you're going to get, or the more it's going to be like somebody's going to try to hold you down. And that doesn't mean that they have to be able to or you have to let them, but at the same time, this other environment seems more objective. It seems like, if I go in there with like just energetically and like, well, actually, like feeling good when I can, but essentially, like just sort of, yeah, like essentially just staying whatever. And especially if you can find your way to like laughing and like actually like joking around and say things went badly before, but then you go in and you're like, all right, like I'm fucking ready. It's like you go in every single day like that, no matter what happened yesterday. And especially if horrible shit happened to you in your life. I mean, look at me. But if you go in and just carry like pretty much bring in like a renewed and a high level of energy every day into like any given set of situations, I think you're gonna, if not win people over, I think people are gonna be impressed. And I think it is, I think it's actually like it might be sort of a helpful thing for other people to see, because it's so easy to get into these modes of being being very dragged down, and you can be very you could be very angry, and you could feel very resentful, and you could kind of go in and kind of be pissed off and resentful, because you can be acting with true authenticity, I think, but perhaps like, well, I don't know. But in any case, like I find that rather than in earlier situations where I would actually like after I got like kind of resentful or around like a given person or something, I'd kind of be like, all right, like on some level, it's like, all right, I want to make sure that like I'm not just sort of approaching this person as if they haven't done X, Y, or Z, because I don't want to just be this pushover. And I have been sort of like, mm, well, very like catering to people, like just a sense of like I'm looking for a word, but basically a sense of like kind of pleading niceness, like oh, like oh, no, no, like no, don't. No, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, you smiled at me. Okay, good. That means that we're friends again. And like, okay, now I'm gonna do whatever you want. I mean, not do whatever you want, but at the same time, it's like, okay, great. Like now I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna act like nothing ever. It's like, you don't want to just be a fucking pussy. You don't want to just, and I don't say that to be demeaning to women. You don't want to be a fucking pussy though, and I don't think women are gonna like that either if you are. But you also like it. All it's less of a. I'd say it's probably less of a pussy act to go in and like be kind of pissed off and be like, like no, we're not friends. Like I've literally gone in to the point where like somebody like complained about it and just fucking didn't say hi to somebody at a job. Okay, first of all, he shouldn't have fucking been there because it was the end of his shift. So he'd stay literally like I'm not gonna get into it, but he would stay a while into my shift. And like the reason why I liked that job, big reason was that I worked alone. And if this guy kept staying into my shift, it's like, dude, no, this is my time, you fucking asshole, But so I like I he actually kind of was more like the let's go in with a friendly attitude every time kind of guy back with me, and I was like no, fuck you. Like so I don't know, I wonder what he would think about this. He probably still like really dislikes me, and for good reason. And he was like fairly nice and supportive of me, but basically I could tell you the whole story, but in any case, it was it was an example of me going in kind of pissed. And the job before that, like, there was another guy who just fairly irritating to me. And I like after a while, like essentially, like I just tried to avoid him in whatever way I could. And like I just, it was just very like essentially like I felt like kind of I didn't go in every day being like, well, hey man, like or like maybe not hey man, but I didn't go in every day being like sort of if I was around him, maybe I wouldn't be like, because what you have to say, hey man, to everyone who is mean to you. Like, no, I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't necessarily suggest that. I'd say people who make you feel bad, like, kind of stay away from them. Like, or check out the wording in RPG Life on the 30-minute video. But in any case, like, I guess you could be a pussy, or you could be angry and resentful, or you could go in and you could say, you know what, like I'm feeling good. I'm gonna do my best, and like I'm gonna keep it upbeat. And if this guy wants to approach me in a friendly way, I might not necessarily want to be his friend, but if he wants to approach me in a friendly way or at least a neutral one, then I'll sort of essentially I'll return it in sort of a neutral hyphen friendly way.